Let's just do some very simple prayers and then we'll start. Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Gukarastvandhakaro Vai Rukarastvannivartakaha Andhakar Nirodhitvat Gururitya Vidhiyate Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunattu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So I was mentioning that what our plan will be to do the full Dakshinamurti puja on alternate Saturdays. I wanted to do it every Saturday, but Zarina suggested that we intersperse it with meditations, and I think it was a good idea. So we will do one Saturday, I will do it at my home on all Saturdays, that I did this morning also. But here we will do the Dakshinamurti chanting every other Saturday. So this is how we will do it. And you saw my plan. I think it'll be wonderful. This is what is done in the ashram also. Those of you that have been there are familiar with it. That the archana, the offering of the 108 names of Dakshinamurti is done. So it'll be nice for us to learn how to do it. And then extend it from that, that's not done in the ashram that I have seen, is to actually look at the meanings of each one of the verses, because they're very significant. And it's so nice that it goes back to Puja Swamiji's asking Swami Tattvavidananda to write a Sanskrit commentary on each one of them. So if you follow this, you can see each one of them. So starting with number 1, for example, which is the most on page number 1, which is the most voluminous. Om Omkara Simha Sarvendraya Namaha. So Swami TV was telling me that once Puja Swamiji asked him to compose this, he decided that I think even before breakfast or after breakfast, I forget, he will just sit down and then write it in Sanskritam. It's amazing that, he's such a master of that. And then later on, I don't know whether he did it later on or at the same time, he also wrote the English translation of that. So that's all given in here. And so it'll be nice. I don't know when we are going to find time to do all of that, but at least you have it in your possession. And then you can, we will start to read it and imbibe the meanings of it, this is where the full benefit will come to us. So this is the plan. And these books are $5 each, so you can just anytime, it doesn't matter, just leave a $5 bill. So with that, so today we won't do, I think it'll be a time for us to do full puja. That will come later on. But today let us just practice the pronunciation of both the Archana to Ganesha and also the 108 names of that. So let's just practice that. So what we will do, I was thinking that the Ganesha names are 16 or 17 of them are very simple. So you can follow after me only once. But the ones to the, let's see, we also have Dakshinamurti Stotram. Well, let's see how far we go. So I think we will also do the Dakshinamurti Stotram. I think many of you already know about it, are familiar with the pronunciation, but many of you may not be, and so we will just, you can just do that once for that. Then when we come to the 108 names, you kindly repeat, I will also repeat it, so we will do each name twice so that it becomes a little bit, it's more difficult to do. So with that, let's start with the Archana for Ganapati. So the first one, you can just follow after me. Om Sumukhaya Namaha. Om Ekadantaya Namaha. Om Kapilaya Namaha. Om Gajakarnakaya Namaha. Om Lambodharaya Namaha. Om Vikataya Namaha. Om Viknarajaya Namaha. Om Vinayakaya Namaha. Om Dhumeketave Namaha. Om Ganadhyakshaya Namaha. Om Phalachandraya Namaha. Om Gajananaya Namaha. Om Vaktratundaya Namaha. Om Shurpakarnaya Namaha. Om Herambaya Namaha. Om Skandapurvajaya Namaha. Om Siddhivinayakaya Namaha. Let me turn this on so that we can also record the sounds. I just realized that the Archana for Ganapati does not have the transliterations, and so I'll have to find it somewhere so that people that are not familiar with the Devanagari can also chant accurately. So I will try to do that next time. Okay, so now let's do the Dakshinamurti Stotra along with its Dhyana Shlokas. So Mauna Vyakhya, etc. are the Dhyana Shlokas, and then the full 10 verses of Dakshinamurti Stotram. We will also just pronounce it only once for the time being. Let's see. So I will break down each of the lines into two, so quarter. Mauna Vyakhya Prakatita परब्रह्म तत्त्वं युवानम् वर्षिष्टान्ते वसदृशिगणैः आवृतं ब्रह्मनिष्ठैः आचार्येन्द्रं करकलितचिन्मुद्रम् आनन्दरूपम् स्वात्मा रामं मुदितवदनम् दक्षिणामूर्तिमीडे वटविटपि समीपे भूमिभागे निषन्नं सकलमुनिजनानां ज्ञानदातारमारात् त्रिभुवनगुरुमीशं दक्षिणामूर्तिदेवं जननमरणदुःख छेददक्षं नमामि चित्रं वटतरोर्मूले वृद्धा शिष्या गुरुर्युवा गुरोस्तु मौनं व्याख्यानम् शिष्यास्तु छिन्न संशयाः निधये सर्वविद्यानां भिषजे भवरोगिणां गुरवे सर्वलोकानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। So now the Dakshinamurti Stotram. Here they have started from 1 all the way up to the other ones, but we will begin. Well, this is number 1. The next one, the Vishwam Darpananmaran, will be number 1. Some people came in late. You can perhaps keep these books in the back for anyone to just take one book each. Yeah.
You want me to put this in?
Yes, or give it to this. Okay. Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari. Sorry, just a second. I'm just trying to, in breaking it into the four parts. Vishwana Darpa Drishyamana Nagari Tulyam Nijantargatam Pashyanatmani Mayaya Bahirivodbhutam Yatha Nidraya Bahirivodbhutam Yatha Nidraya यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयम् तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदम् श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं बीजस्यान्तरिवाकुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः माया कल्पितदेशकालकलना माया कल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतम् मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि योगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदम् श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये यस्यैव स्फुरणं सदात्मकम् असत्कल्पार्थगं भासते साक्षात् तत्त्वमसीति वेदवचसा यो बोधयत्याश्रितान् यत्साक्षात्करणात् भवेन्न पुनरावृत्तिर्भवाम्भोनिधौ तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदम् श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नानाच्छिद्रघटोदरस्थित महादीपप्रभाभास्वरम् ज्ञानं यस्य तु चक्षुरादिकरणद्वारा बहिस्पन्दते जानामीति तमेव भान्तम् अनुभात्येतत्समस्तं जगत् तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदम् श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये So eventually we will pronounce the whole sentence. So let's start by making sure that the last one we do the complete one, because that's a repetition. So Deham pranamapindriyanapi chalam buddhim cha shunyam viduhu Stri balanda jadopamastwaham iti bhranta bhrisham vadinaha Maya Shakti Vilasa Kalpita Mahavyamoha Samharine Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namaidam Shri Dakshina Murtaye तस्मै श्री गुरुमूर्तये नमः श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये राहुग्रस्तदिवाङ्करेन्दुसदृशः मायासमाच्छादनात् सन्मात्रः करणोपसंहरणतः यो भूत्सुषुप्तः पुमान् प्रागस्वाप्स्वमिति प्रबोधसमये यः प्रत्यभिज्ञायते तस्मै श्री गुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्री गुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये बाल्यादिष्वपि जाग्रदादिषु तथा सर्वास्वस्थास्वपि व्यावृत्तास्वनुवर्तमानम् अहमित्यन्तः स्फुरन्तं सदा स्वात्मानं प्रकटीकरोति भजताम् यो मुद्रया भद्रया तस्मै श्री गुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्री गुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये विश्वं पश्यति कार्यकारणतया स्वस्वामी सम्बन्धतः शिष्याचार्यतया तथैव पितृपुत्रात्यात्मना भेदतः स्वप्ने जागृति वाय एष पुरुषः माया परिभ्रामितः तस्मै श्री गुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये भूरम्भांस्यनलोर्निलोऽम्बर अहर्नार्थो हिमांशुः पुमान् इत्याभाति चराचरात्मकमिदम् यस्यैव मूर्त्यष्टकम् नान्यत् किञ्चन विद्यते विमृशताम् यस्मात् परस्मात् विभो तस्मै श्री गुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये सर्वात्मत्वमिति स्फुटीकृतमिदं यस्माद् अमुष्मिंस्तवे तेनास्य श्रवणात् तदर्थमननात् ध्यानाच्च संकीर्तनात् सर्वात्मत्वमहाविभूतिसहितं स्यादीश्वरत्वं Tvam swataha Adishwaratvam Siddhyet punurashtadha parinatam Siddhyet Chaishwaryam avyahatam. Nice, very good. You guys are doing a good job. Okay, so now I don't know whether we can finish. Perhaps we can't even start today. I think I didn't realize this. So I guess we will have to do this next time. It'll be a while before we can practice all this. So maybe 2 weeks from today we will do the Dakshinamurti, the Shatanamavali, and so it'll be a while before we get the hang of it. So because I want to go on with the class, so we'll stop here at this point. So this this class, I'm not quite sure how much time it would take. I have some ideas on planning, but it may or may not come through. The reason I say that is because this is an important topic, and the topic that we are taking is one of the suggestions made in my reading of Swami Maheshanandaji's Panchadashi was that he mentions references to other important verses from time to time, and in one of the places, I think I mentioned it to the Mandukya class, I believe, that he had said that there is a method that we should use as the basic tenets of our inquiry, which should be kept in mind. So, in some ways, you are reading Vedantic books and you're leading a life, and there's a certain complexity to it. Certain, it just drags on for a while. But to kind of encapsulate it from time to time in your mind in terms of what are the basic tenets of what am I doing. And so this is what is called vichara. So viveka and vichara. So viveka means the discriminative inquiry, and the vichara means the general inquiry and surrounding the viveka. What is the method for me? What am I doing? All of that. So this is what is called vichara. So the vichara is here given some body in forms of these 5 verses that appear in the Aparoksha Anubhuti, written by Adi Shankara. A huge book. I actually just have one copy of it for myself. I don't think I've studied it from end to end. I've studied it here and there. But this particular one is a very interesting composition. So the original composition is by Adi Shankara. And then what's really significant is that there was a commentary on it written by Swami Vidyaranya. And it's called Deepika. So Deepika means a light on, giving some understanding on what is the real meaning of the Aparoksha Anubhuti is. And so Aparoksha Anubhuti means your own personal experience. That's the end of what we have to really look for at the end of this whole thing. So this book was commented by Swami Vidyaranya. And then I have a Hindi translation of both the verses as well as Swami Vidyaranya's commentary by one Swami Akhandanandaji. And Swami Akhandananda also is a very well-known householder. He's a householder, but he took sannyasa. But just a very, very clear, a very popular person. And there are two of our Swamis who have spent quite a bit of time with him. The one who actually was his complete disciple is Swami Pratyak Bodhananda. So Swami Pratyak Bodhananda and his sister both gave up. They come from some very well-to-do family in Gujarat somewhere. They both took sannyasa. And they took sannyasa because of Swami Akhandananda ji. So they started to study with him for a long time. They spent, and so Swami Pratyak Bodhananda has given me a big list of his Hindi books to read, which I've done in the last 10, 15. He did this about 15 years ago in one of my visits to the ashram. So he had a big collection. He had kept it for someone else, but when I was talking to him, he says, "You take it." So he gave me the whole thing, and I've been reading it off and on. And then later on, I discovered the translations by Swami Maheshananji, which I found to be more to my way of thinking. So, but I did study Swami Akhandananda ji. And then Swami Tattvavidananda also spent a lot of time with Swami Akhandananda. Before he met Swami Chinmayanand and Swami Dayanandji. So he also was highly impressed. So anyway, I have his commentary, and I studied that for these 5 verses. So there's a lot to be said. So I'm not sure. I was hoping to finish everything in one class, but it may not happen. We will see how that goes. But anyway, I thought that maybe what I would do is to make sure, because I have a lot of things that I want to talk about in terms of the explanation of these, but I'll contain myself and not go into all of the details and try to finish all the 5 verses today, and then perhaps do a more detailed explanation some other time. That's what I want to do, because it's a single class, and we'll do it that way. So let's start with that. So let's do this. Let us go ahead and pronounce all 5 verses, and so that at least we have something, some samskara in our mind by pronouncing also. And it's interesting, Swami Maheshananji made this beautiful point that really speaking, there are 3 ways of trying to see something. Trying to, like for example, to see Dakshinamurti. So one is called Kayena, which is through your body, puja. And then Vachakena, through talking about it. And then Manasa, through the mind. So Maheshananji says that do not belittle the Kayena. And it's a very interesting thing why he says that do not belittle actually doing the puja and to talk about it. The reason is that he gave an example of swimmers. He says that in the case of swimmers, you cannot accomplish swimming until you do it. And so the samskaras left. Beautiful point he made. He says, I have seen accomplished swimmers who might have been swimmers when they were young, and when they became an adult, for some reason or the other, they don't do any swimming, because sometimes swimming in India especially, swimming pools are not available. You're not living next to a river, so there's no occasion to keep swimming, but you learnt it in your childhood. And 30, 40 years later, supposing there is a chance, you don't forget it. You don't say, oh my goodness, I'm going to drown. No. Why? Because your body actions and your, in that case only the body actions, no vachaka, constrain your samskaras in a very nice way in your body. So similarly he says that to actually say things aloud is an important thing because it trains your mind to think about it when the right time comes. So kayena vacha manasa indriyaiva. So the ucharanam, the pronunciation, is also an important part of the learning process, as Swamiji pointed out. Beautiful. So let's just pronounce it, and then we will see how much time we have, and then we will go through that. I'm going to keep my watch. We have a little bit more time because we don't have to precisely end at 10 o'clock. It could go a few minutes later. Let's see. So yeah, we can even break it down into halves. Koham kathamidam jatam ko vai kartasya vidyate. I'm sorry, I don't have the transliteration of this also. I don't know. I'll have to create one. I can't find one. I'll look for it. Koham kathamidam jatam ko vai kartasya vidyate upadanam kimastiha vicarasoyam idrishaha naham bhuta gano dehaha. So here, as you know by now, we did the same thing in Dakshinamurti Stotra, that if we don't pause, then it will become Naham Bhuta Gano Deho Naham Chakshan Asatra. But if we pause, then we have to break the Sandhi and it will become Naham Bhuta Gano Dehaha. Naham Bhuta Gano Dehaha. Naham Chakshaganasthatha. Etad Vilakshanah Kaschit. Etad Vilakshanah Vichara Soyam Idrashaha. Sorry, it should be Idrishaha. So vichara soyam idrishaha. Ajnana prabhavam sarvam jnanena praviliyate. Sankalpo vividh karta. Sankalpo vividh karta. Vichara soyam idrishaha. Etayor upadanamekam. Sukshmam sadavyayam. Yathaiva mitghatadinam. Vichara soyam idrishaha. Ahamekopi sukshmascha. Jnata sakshi sadavyayah. Tadaham natra sandehaha. Vichara soyam idrishaha. So here the refrain is Vicharaha so ayam idrishaha. So vichara means an inquiry or the thinking or the attitude of the how we conduct and how we think. way of thinking. That's a good way to. So vichara means a way of thinking. How do we direct our minds so that we ask the right questions to ourselves? So this is called vicharaha. Saha ayam idrishaha. So saha means that that vichara which is which we are trying to mimic. So that vicharaha. It's interesting. Saha means that, ayam means this. So just like, supposing you say, that person that you wanted to meet is this person. So similarly here he says, that vicharaha, which you want to do, you want to learn how to do it, is this type. So that's the sense of this. Vicharaha saha ayam idrishaha. So this is the refrain. Okay. So the first one, koham katham idam jatam. Kaha aham katham idam jatam. Katha aham. Kaha aham. So the most important tenet of this inquiry is, who am I? And the reason why it is so important, it looks kind of like trivial, what do you mean? Why is it so important? It's so important because we do not do it. If you really examine our lives, then what happens is, what do I eat? What should I eat for breakfast? What is to be done today at 10 o'clock? You're always directed to outside of you. And our inquiry in life is mostly, almost exclusively based on anatma, not on you. So the you is kept as a side player. Of course I have to eat breakfast. I have to fulfill my hunger. I have to figure out what to do at 10 o'clock. Should I do this? Should I do that? Etc. All those kinds of things, I is there. But my whole attention in life is based on other things, which are necessary to a point, but it doesn't really focus in on, who am I? Who am I that is feeling hungry and looking for some time to do something at 10 o'clock? Who am I? And so the answers will come later. But here the point is, the way of inquiring about yourself should be to keep this inquiry at the back of your mind. If you do that, then you can make the right progress. It's not as though you're suddenly going to get, because this is, the I is very sophisticated, very sukshma. The very last one, number 16, aham eko bhi sukshma. It's not visible that you can easily say, oh, this is who I am. This is who I am means that, this is the interesting thing, that our identity is, I am a human being. This is the backdrop to everything that I do. I am a human being. And along with that comes, my name, my age, my gender, my relationships, my likes and dislikes, the whole thing, all along, all reinforcing the assumption of the identity that I am a human being. So I am a human being is the Manushyoham. I am a human being is the very basis of my life. Everything that I do is with I am a human being. It turns out you are not a human being. You are not a human being. Just like when you are a dream character, you are really not a dream character. You have this enormous set of experiences as a dream character. As a dreamer, you kind of weave a picture of who you're dealing with, what are your likes and dislikes, your disappointments, eagerness, all of that is all weaved around the fact that you are a dream character, you are a dreamer. And that's fine. That allows you that freedom. Similarly here also. So it's interesting to see this. That, or if you, another way of looking at it is that supposing you are acting in a play, and in that play you are a role to play, and in that role you have some costumes. So to have a role, you have to look the role. If you are playing a king, then the robes of the king have to be a certain type. And so the costumes of the role in the play are appropriate to the role that you have adopted in the play. So look at it this way. Your starting a life is like beginning your role in the play. There is a play, there is a creation of the play where, and this play lasts some years, 60, 70, 80 years. And in your role, you are covered by a costume. You take the appropriate costumes. And so really speaking, the costume is done when you begin your life. And the costume is the body-mind complex. And the entire life is a play. And in that play, the fundamental identity you have is I am a human being. And then it's a very sophisticated play. It's a sophisticated play because it's kind of like a play where each of the actors is given certain freedom to innovate. It's kind of like an Indian raga. There's a good analogy just came to me. So in a raga, you have a basic structure of the raga. Each raga is a very different set of notes. But the Indian raga system is very different from the Western compositions, because in the Western compositions you have a fixed way of playing the music, the notes. But in the raga, there is a structure But then each of the artists is given a certain freedom within the structure to innovate. So our life is something like that. There is in fact a structure that you cannot violate. The structure is that you cannot live for 500 years. But there is a certain freedom where you can live for 50 years or 60 years or 70 or 80 depending upon how you modulate your life. But anyway, going back to it, my identity is I am a human being. And the inquiry should be, am I really a human being? Is there a given? Is there an end and starting point? Not subject to debate? And for us, no, there is no subject to debate. What are you talking about? You are, of course, a human being. So here, our Shastra says, really? Why are you assuming it like that? You may say, what else? What do you mean? My experiences confirm that. Everybody else that I talk to, and if you tell someone, are you a human being? He'll walk away from thinking that I don't have time to waste with you. Koham, who am I? So the Shastra says, please begin your inquiry. Keep this in your mind. Am I really a human being? And the answer is no. You're not a human being. You are something totally different. In fact, you are, as a human being, is not there at all. It is just a make-believe. You're something much more than that. So the inquiry, this is a very appropriate beginning for the set of inquiry. How should I think? That question should be paramount in our mind. Because along with all the other, it's not as though you will stop doing breakfasts and so on, and at 10 o'clock, all of that will go on. But until you keep this inquiry going, the whole life will just be lost in the play. And you will not discover the fact that you are a separate actor. The whole thing will, then again, you're kind of like half drunk. And then you just look for another play, next life. So Koham is a very important one. It's the very beginning of the whole thing. Koham. Then Kathamidam Jatam. So if I'm not a human being, then this set of things that make me think that I'm a human being, how was it born? How did it come about? Kathamidam Jatam. And this is all part of the very general structure of thinking. The answer is, I don't know. I don't know. Well, shouldn't we find out from someone? Why don't we do some research on this? Don't do it. You'll never find out. Don't waste your time. Don't be like Stephen Hawkins, who thinks that he has found the fundamentals of creation. He hasn't. No one. It is impossible. Why? Because it is not there. The assumption that it is there and therefore it must be born itself is wrong. It is not there. How can you say that? This is my experience. Anyway, so you can see how each one of these requires a lot of explanation. So this is what my challenge is. I don't know how I can finish this. So perhaps I'll just give you a general structure for now, and then fill in the blanks later on. This is more like an outline more than anything else. And so, really speaking, what it means is that, like Ramana Maharshi also said, that if you just basically concentrate on who am I, not on what this world is all about, you'll get there. You will get there. And so, don't waste your time precisely accounting for everything that is happening in your life. Because it is neither possible, so this is an important thing to see, it is neither possible nor necessary. So see for yourself as part of who am I, why the inquiry into the world is not necessary. Oh yeah, it is necessary so that you can continue. It is necessary to eat so that you can continue your inquiry. Yeah, that's just relative. But on an absolute level, don't waste your time. Whatever emotional energy you have, focus in on the inquiry of who am I? What is my true nature? And so some of the inquiry and some of the answers that will come. So let's go on with that. I want to really just keep going. It's spending a lot of time on each one of them, but this can be really a basis of the whole course. Ko ham kathamidam jatam. Ko vai karta. Who did this? How was it ever even possible? Upadanam kimasti. What is the material of this whole world that it is made out of? What is it? What's going on? Kind of like. And so, upadanam kimasti, ko vai karta, with all of this sort of a thing. And so these are the various angles of an inquiry into the truth about myself. Who am I? How did I come about? How did this come about? Because not how did I come about, because you never came about. That will be done later on. But this manusyoham, that I am a human being, this idea, how was it born? Who did this? And what is because it looks very real to me, so what is the material of it? All of that. So this is the vicharaha saha ayam idrishaha. This is the method of inquiry. Then, the next verse starts to dissect the elements of the first verse, starting with koham. So in number 13, it starts the systematic inquiry of who am I by first saying, what can I not be? So this is the connection, what is called sangatihi. So sangatihi means the connection between one verse and the next one. The connection is the explanation of who am I. And so here, in the continuation of his naham bhuta ganaha, Naham bhuta ganaha. So here there are two aspects. One is bhutaha and the other one is bhuta ganaha. So there are two aspects of the word bhuta. Here Swami Vidyaranya has taken both of them. So one can be, bhuta means elements, some substance. The other one is called the past. So one is deshataha, from the standpoint of the presence of vastus in my life. This is one explanation of bhuta. The other one is kalataha, from a time standpoint, is called the bhuta, means the past. So in both ways, I am not the bhuta. So for example, I am not any specific thing. So I am not any specific thing because the whole world is made out of 5 elements, as you know. So space, air, water, fire, water, and earth. So it turns out that I am not made out of any one of those 5. The manusyoham, the idea that I am a human being, that is made out of the bhutas. But I am not made out of the bhutas. And here, the explanation that Swami Paramarthananda gives is really, I think, the best. Others give also, but his clinging to this idea that he repeats is that I am the electricity, not the appliance. Beautiful. The electricity is independent of the appliance. If the appliance breaks down, if it is decays, it has nothing to do with electricity. It is independent. So in the same idea here, Naam bhutaha. I am not made out of the electricity is not made out of the elements of the appliance. It is something independent of that. Naham bhutaha. And so this is the, again I have to go on without giving a more explanation for this. The other one is Naham bhuta ganaha kalataha. From a time standpoint also, I am not subject to time. Just like electricity is not subject to the constituents of the appliance. It is something totally different. Totally different. Nothing to do with it. Similarly, I have nothing to do with time. Here, Swami Akhandanandaji gives us a beautiful example, which all of our acharyas have also given, which is that if you look at yourself from the standpoint of time, you always are. You are never the past. In fact, if somebody asks you, what time is it? By the time you tell, that has become past. So therefore, there is no reality to the past. And in fact, there is no reality to the future. the reality of the past and the reality of the future belong to Bhuta Ganaha. Yes, I was a baby at one time. So my body was a baby at one time. And I may give up this body. In fact, I will give up this body. It'll become just a corpse. That's going to happen. But I am not the body. I am in fact not subject to time. And you see yourself as me, I. That I is now. And now, the word now also does not indicate time. It simply indicates independent isness. I am. So now we can summarize then Naham Bhuta Ganaha. I am neither the substance that this whole world is made out of, my whole body is made out of. I'm independent of Desha and Vastutaha, and I'm independent of time. So Bhuta Ganaha has been very nicely taken up both ways. It doesn't matter whichever way you take. Take both ways, you are independent of that. Then, Naham Deha. Deha. Here Swami Makhandananji gives a beautiful explanation. He says, look at this. And this in fact is one of the tenets that will continue on for the rest of the verses, which is the nature of dukkha. Nature of dukkha. Dukkha means misery, sorrow, problems. And so this is a very important thing. We have to see what is the nature of dukkha. And the reason is that most of the time I am dukkhi. So many things affect my sense of happiness, and it's a mystery. Why am I dukkhi? And here the very nature of this experience is that I take dukkha to be myself. I am dukkhi. I am miserable. And so the rest of the basic thing is, this is the first part of the inquiry. Not the first part, but the first phase of the inquiry is that why is there dukkha? We have to really understand that. There's so many ways to look at this, and so this is just a summary of that. Here in Naham Deha, it's a beautiful explanation by Swami Akhandanandi. Beautiful. He said, look at this. If you own something, if you pretend to own something which is not yours, there is dukkha. There is dukkha. Because the only sukha, the only happiness is to have your own possession, things that really belong to you. And so, if you make something out of your own ingredients, Like supposing you want to make a roti, and then you have the money to buy the flour. You have the ability to grind, to wield it, and you make roti. Then you are okay. Here, so you need to have your own ingredients, your efforts. It should be your own assets. You should have bought it, or you somehow got it from someplace. In the case of the body, none of those conditions are fulfilled. It is not yours. Why not mine? Because it follows from aham na bhuta ganaha. And so this is the Brahma. Brahma means a false way of just saying, this is mine. It is just like a child, a 4-year-old child, and this happens more in boys than girls. It's very interesting. The girls don't immediately, this is something very beautiful to see. You don't, because I had 2 granddaughters, so I was observing their behavior. They don't go to somebody's house and say, this doll is mine. But the boys, when they go, a 4-year-old boy, when he sees a truck, he quietly hands it. And this other fellow says, hey, he's taken my toy. And so there is a big fight. So this is exactly the thing is that you have a dukkha based on the fact that you possess, you think the body belongs to you. And that means somehow, because the body is a combination of all the Pancha Mahabhutas, so it is part of the body is part of the whole creation. See, look at this. So there are 5 elements in the whole cosmos, Akasha, Vayu, etc. And whether they are combined or not doesn't matter. It's not for your doing it. Ishvara has done it. But the whole thing is nothing but one cosmos. And out of that cosmos, you have taken your body and separated it from the rest and said, this is mine. Problems. It is just like a 4-year-old who says, this truck belongs to me. And so any time you are not the author of it. You didn't invent it. It was given to you. Use it. Use it, that's fine. But don't say, this is me, this is mine. So this starts the inquiry, further goes in here. A very important thing to see. This is the genesis, the very seed of dukkha. Seed of dukkha. You look at another aspect of this. This is, I'm now I'm borrowing from some of the verses that are going to come later. Think about it. This is the way of thinking. You see, this is the way of thinking. The way of thinking is that there is no misery in the whole world except when you have a sense of me and mine. When you put a cloak on, this is mine, this is me. Me, we just saw the deha. Mine also. Swami Akhandanandji gave this beautiful example. He said, you know, in India, supposing you are sitting there and by the in a bazaar, in a small shopping center, by the roadside. This happens all the time. And you're having nice puri aloo and enjoying yourself with some dahi bada and so on. And there is a procession of someone carrying this dead body. They're going by. Ram Naam Satya Hai, Ram Naam Satya Hai. This is the normal thing that is done. 4 people carrying this dead body, and then there's a lot of people. So you say, you know, who died? And normally when you just say, all you do is, you know, you just bow your head a little bit and say, let them pass. And may the soul rest in peace. That's it. Then you go back to eating your puri aloo and chana and dahi bada and all those. But someone says the name of someone who is very dear to you. He says, what? When did he die? He says, just died this morning. Oh my God, I didn't know this. Will you keep on eating? You're going to join it. The shopkeeper will say, what about the payment? He says, I don't know, I'll come back to you. I'll come back. You'll join the procession. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe it. It could be even, a very loved one. Same thing, for example, you know, when all these terrorist incidents take place, accidents take place, and you look at it and says, oh, too bad. No, 150 people killed on an air crash. Too bad. I'm very sorry to hear that. May their soul. If one of them, God forbid, is your son or a daughter, how will that same thing transform your life? Why is that? This is the way of thinking. We are looking at the kernels on which we can hang our thinking hat on. It is due to the fact that it is me and mine. You are the one who is creating dukkha for yourself. There is no dukkha. And it all stems from the fact that I am a manushya, I am a human being, means that I am someone. I have got friends, I've got relatives. This is what I'm living in, and so on and so forth. And in that one, I create my whole world. In fact, it's this is given in the word number 14 called sankalpa. Sankalpa vividha is all connected. Sankalpa means, here, sankalpa has different meanings. Normally the sankalpa means, actually the similar meaning, same thing, but used in slightly different ways. Sankalpa means your ascertainment. This is what I'm going to do. This is me. This is what I do, so forth. This is called sankalpa. Sankalpa means that it's a definite conscious thought. So here also the same thing. So what happens is that your sankalpa in this usage of this word means you have made a determination. What is the determination? I am a human being. I am someone with a name, age, relationships, etc., with my kids, grandkids, and friends, relatives. This is me. And I want to make sure that I am protected. I don't care what happens to the others, but this is my world. Problems. Vividha karta. क्या कहते? संकल्पः विविधः karta. You have just chosen, and so now it creates a whole set of likes and dislikes, fears, and so on and so forth. And the genesis of this is mine. The sankalpa, this is me and this is mine, this is my house, and so on and so forth. And so the question is, isn't that natural? How can I get rid of that? This is me. I have to live with that. Yes, it's possible. If you discover that it does not make any difference. This is going from Manusyoham to Paramatmaham. And this is everything just leads to it. The whole thing can be summarized that you are in a play, and in that play you are suffering because of the plot of the play. There's no reality to it. And there is something much more real in terms of what you have to see. This is what we have to discover. This is the method of thinking. So, going back to 13, Naham bhuta ganaha, Naham dehaha, Naham cha akshaganas tatha. Akshaganas tatha means all these organs that I am using, organs of perception, of action. And so there are different logical reasons for each one of them. And the same logical reason can be also given as for the deha. That those are also made out of bhuta ganaha. But here another one given by Swami Akhandanandji is that look at the plurality of it. Whereas you are a single person. This all goes back to who am I? You cannot say I am this and that, and maybe this is exactly the problem we have. We're not sure of it, so we take any variation, and not only the variations, but also the samuha, the collection of things to be me. No, this is not the right way to look at it. Why? Because it's kind of like, you have so many appliances at your disposal. You don't say the car is you. Don't say that. That's created another problem. This car is mine. But anyway, leaving aside that, the car is also a sadhana. It is just an instrument. Similarly, your mind, your hands, and your eyes, and your speech, they are all instruments for your use. And hopefully those instruments can be gainfully used for you to continue your inquiry, who am I? But these akshaganaha means, aksha means the eyes. So the eyes, etc. The whole set of things is not you, because don't mix up your instruments with who you are. So you're not that. Etad vilakshana. I am someone different from all of this. And this is the method that is vicharaha saha ayam idrishaha. And so this is number 13. So now next question which we need to also dwell on. But where did this sense of limitations come from? Where did it begin? Am I foolish or what? I mean, I'm dealing with this every day. There must be some reason for it. Ajnanam, ajnana prabhavam sarvam. It came about because of self-ignorance. No one did this to you. No one did anything to anyone. This is just the way it is. Do not inquire into the nature. Anirvachaniyam. Maya anirvachaniyam. It's exactly the same thing where if you get, you have the classical rope snake example, and then supposing you find that there is a snake is the interesting thing. If you find a snake on the outside somewhere, it doesn't bother you. But suppose that inside your house there is a snake, will you be able to sleep? Your spouse says, honey, there is a snake in this room. And you say, no, we'll deal with it tomorrow morning. Let us have a nice sleep now. We've had a couple of drinks and I don't want to spoil my mood by just catching. End of your marriage. That's it. You can't do that. So if you see something like a snake, this is why the snake is used as an example. And for those of us that have here, people don't even see snakes. But I was telling you, when I was in Bihar, when my father was a mining engineer, we had this beautiful bungalow in the middle of a jungle. And there were snakes all over the place. There was one time, there was a sofa set. And I think one of our household helps, he takes out the cushions to clean it. There was a snake sitting there. I mean, that was dealt with, but imagine what it does to you. How can we have snakes inside the house? From that on, you don't trust anything. Just imagine. So the snake rope example is a very beautiful one in Indian setting, in that sense. Here now you see them in the TV or something like this. My son, when he first went to college at Davis, UC Davis, I still remember this. So there were another friend of his that he also went with UC. So they both went on the first day. And so his friend said, I'll drive. So Manoj said, fine, I'll go with her. So he says, by the way, there's one condition. I have a pet snake. And you have to hold it in the basket in your lap for 2.5 hours. So Manoj said, what? He almost considered he was asking me, this is what he's telling. I said, don't go. I'll leave you. Don't worry about it. He says, no. He says it's very safe and so on and so forth. He held it. He held it going and coming back. They went through the whole thing. He was sitting in this whole thing. So here the snakes are all different. But here, the example of the rope and snake is a very beautiful one, because supposing in the dark corner of the home somewhere, you think there was a snake. Will you be able to sleep? No. And then in fact, what happens is that you leave that whole place and you don't want to be even near it, because you don't have any broom or, in fact, this is what happened to me. It's very interesting. I was just getting into my garage, and this happened about, 12, 13 years ago. And I saw a snake in the garage. And so I said, oh my goodness, how do I deal with it? So now I am looking for a broom or a stick. And I can't find it. So I'm going into the corners and I have an eye on this snake. That where is he slithering away? Because if he gets into the inside of some of those things, that's it. I'm not going to be able. Fortunately, the fellow was tired. He was just sitting at the same place. And I found a broom. So lucky. So I took the broom and I pushed him out. Pushed him out without really hurting him or killing him or anything. And pushed him out all the way up to the bottom of the driveway. And so if you think that there is a snake, what are you going to do? You're not going to rest. You won't even be there. You'll be leaving that area completely. And if somebody says, where? He says, right there in that corner, in the dark corner. And he said, is this what you think is a snake? He says, yes. He says, that is a rope, foolish fellow. It just looks like a snake. It just wound up. What a relief. What a relief. Now, the inquiry starts. Where did this snake come from? The fellow says, what do you mean where it came from? It is not a snake to begin with. No, but the idea that I was afraid, how did it happen? He said, I don't know how it happened, okay? Don't bother me. He said, no, I'm very interested. When did it start? In fact, I'm going to talk to my professor of psychology. And we are both going together. And the professor of psychology also says, yeah, that's a good idea. Let us do an inquiry. I'll write a paper on it. And we will submit it. Because they're all looking for tenure. So some new idea should come in and say, the idea of fear. What is this reason for the fear? So this is exactly the same. My sense of limitations. You've given me some ideas on how dukkha starts. Dukkha starts with my and mine. When did it start? Fine, I want to get rid of it, but I first want to know, how did it exactly come about? Ajnanam prabhavam. Don't inquire into it. It comes from ignorance. Some ignorance. And the issue here is that somehow I feel that if I keep inquiring into it, and this is exactly what happens in our lives, we are so busy in rearranging the parts of my life because it's confusing. Some of it seems to work. So I say I need to do more of that. And it's all false, because at the end of that you said, nothing stays. Then you say, well, I didn't inquire properly enough. I got to do something other things. Don't waste your time. Instead, look, because I don't see any alternatives. What else do I supposed to do? Is an alternative. You have to self-inquiry, koham. And if you continue on that inquiry, you will find, the thing is, don't waste your time on inquiring about the snake. Find out if it is really a snake, and if not, laugh about it. Laugh about it. Wow, at best you can say that the shape of the rope created the shape of the snake. Is this really true? The thickness of the rope created the thickness of it. So, yes, it's possible that there is in fact a semblance of reality in the world, but the semblance of reality comes from you. So inquire into the reality, not into the semblance of the reality. Why do always worry about the semblance of the reality? This is what is called Chidabhasa. So this we will study in much more detail. And so really speaking, You yourself as a human being, when you say I am a human being, as we started in the very first beginning, that idea that I am a human being is Chidabhasa. It's a semblance of the reality. And if you keep inquiring and stay with the inquiring about the elements of the semblance of the reality, it won't lead to anything. What you should do is to look at the reality behind the semblance of the reality. Swami Meshanji had given a beautiful example of this. He says, supposing you see your reflection in the mirror and you're going outside and you want to put some makeup on your face, as women usually do, some makeup or something, lipstick or whatever it is. Will you put the lipstick on the image on the mirror? This is how foolish our life is, really speaking. That without realizing it, it's like, putting a lipstick on it'll go on the mirror, it'll spoil the mirror. You should deal not with the semblance of not with the reflection, but with on yourself. So this is the thought behind Ajnana Prabhavam Sarvam Jnanena Praviliyate. So here Swami Akadalaji gives a beautiful example. He says, really speaking, the cause of dukkha is ignorance. How? He gives a beautiful example. He says there was a guy who was part of I'm making a little bit more of that. He gave a very simple example. I'm giving some more commentary on it. So supposing you are part of a crew in a diamond mine, and so you're supposed to dig things, and once in a while you get these nuggets, and you're supposed to give it to as soon as you find something. That's why there's so many people looking at you. So you can give it to the supervisor, and then you get a lot of money. Diamonds are very valuable. So this guy was digging, and he found a nugget which he thought was, wow, this is really big. And it turns out your supervisor was on his cell phone. This is my elaboration of this whole thing. So he was not looking at you. So you say, oh my God. He puts it in his pocket and he says, my life is over. I am just going to take this diamond. It's a huge 5-carat diamond, get it polished off, and this is worth about $1 million. I don't have to work as a laborer. This is done. So he goes to his home, he tells his wife, I found this and I didn't tell you, it's okay, those guys are rich anyway, it doesn't matter. So, and she's also very happy. It's all the birth protected and so on and so forth. They have already just started making plans. What are we going to do with $1 million and so on and so forth. So now he has to find a gem trader, or not a gem trader, but a guy who knows. And he goes there and quietly finds out. And that this is a reliable person. He gives him the diamond. So the guy says, this is worthless. It's completely worthless. What are you talking about? So now imagine his disappointment. As though the diamond was his, he had already done all kinds of planning for it and so on, and it turns out not to be a diamond. So Swamiji says, look at this. it was never a diamond to begin with. You created an idea, this is a diamond, and then you fell down from that idea. What are we going to do about this? You cannot take the company phone on law and says, this turned out to be a false thing. This is your idea. It was never false to begin with. It's real. It's just a worthless thing. So really, so the way of thinking is ajnana prabhavam sarvam. Ajnana prabhavam sarvam. Whenever you have dukkha, whenever you have any dukkha in your life, take advantage of that, because don't waste your time in blaming things on others. This is the inquiry, outside inquiry. Why do I get this dukkha? I'm not going to happen this again. I'm going to make sure that I don't do this, that, or the other. Instead, whenever you have dukkha, remind yourself it is due to my ignorance. The fact that this is an unexplainable thing. I am the one that created this play for myself based on my previous life. And ignorance so just imagine this. Ignorance doesn't mean insolvable. You see? That's the thing. The whole idea of the way of thinking is not to say that because I want to blame someone. See, somebody has to be accountable. Because at least give me some satisfaction. It gives you some relief from your dukkha. If you found somebody accountable, then it is good. It is good that at least to do that. But how long are you keep on doing it? Swami Maheswaranji and Swami Dayananji both had given this example. He says in India this happens more often than in the US. So you're working in a company, and then you're very sensitive to your position with who's your boss and who likes you, who doesn't, and so on and so forth. So you're always very trying to be pleasant, and then of course people will say, yes sir, and so on and so forth. Here you call people by their first name. If Satya Nadella, they say, hi Satya. In India, he was the CEO of something, he says, sir. There's no Satya or anything like that. So this guy was he was going there, and he found this big boss coming in from the other side. And then you say, good morning, sir. And this guy just keeps on looking. He just looks at you like this and just keeps on going. You call your wife and says, I'm looking for a new job because I'm going to be fired. This guy does not even acknowledge. The fact of the matter was that he had some earplugs and he was talking to his wife while he was passing by. And she was saying, honey, you forgot to bring yogurt for me last night. Do not do this again. He was so busy with that. He didn't even notice you. But you have taken this to be, my boss doesn't acknowledge my greetings. I am done in this house, in this job. Exactly the same situation is. We just want to blame someone. So going back to, I didn't complete that thought. It's not as though the ignorance is insolvable. Because I have to do something about it. I cannot just leave it hanging. Instead, each unexplainable incident as a separate incident or as a whole, doesn't matter. Better if it is as a whole, is seen to be something that I don't need to really look into. Instead, it should inspire you to look at yourself. So the ignorance, when you say the ignorance is, see, this is an important thing to see. When we say Maya Anirvachaniya, and the word is Anirvachaniya. Anirvachaniya means that cannot be precisely defined. The idea of a snake cannot be precisely defined. All you can say is that it looks like the same shape as the rope. That's it. But it cannot be. It is amazing how this whole thing comes about. The Maya Shakti is just amazing. I read this somewhere. I think Swami Maheshanji had given this example. I'd never seen it that way. He says, look at this. What Maya has done has the ability to create an inert object like a rope into a live object like a snake. A Jada Vastu is converted into a Chaitanya Vastu. Amazing. Only possible through Maya. So, really speaking, any ajnanam, any dukkha should be seen as something not worth inquiring into, but worth inquiring into the very background of the dukkha. I gave this example in, I think, the Tuesday class, last class. There was a Greek philosopher who said that he had some students who would come to say, should we get married or not, and this, that, or the other. So he says, no, absolutely get married. I recommend everyone to get married. So they said, why? He says, okay, both ways you win out. Both ways you win out. If you get a good person to marry you, you have a wonderful, happy life. You win out. Supposing you get a miserable person to get married, you will find God. You will find God. So both ways you could do that. So he says, just make sure that the dukkha is seen to be a gateway for self-inquiry. Anyway, so that's the main. Ajnana prabhavam sarvam jnanena praviliyate. And then because of the ajnanam, we already did this, sankalpaha vividaha karta vicharaha saha ayam idrishaha. This is how the inquiry is to be conducted. So then we go to, so there then the inquiry, so when you say do not inquiry into the semblance of reality, but instead inquire into the reality where that creates the semblance of reality, then the next verse now starts to wrap up. This is the whole wrapping up. Etayoho yad upadanam ekam sukshmam sat avyayam. He says the way to inquire is the fact that behind all limitations is limitlessness. Behind all dukkha is sukha. Behind all smallness is bigness. Behind all change is changelessness. Behind all inertness is sentience. This is the way to inquire. Behind all vulnerability is non-vulnerability. Like if you are totally involved with the shape of the ornament, you are vulnerable. It can break, it can tarnish, whatever. But if your value is to the content of the ornament, not the shape, you are now much more secure. That is the reality. That is the upadanam. So, etayoho yad upadanam, that is the material. Ekam sukshmam sadavyayam, one which is you in the form of something which is neither has a name or form. It is like electricity that is not, it can power the appliance, but it is independent of the appliance. It has no shape, at least there has some kind of a presence, but in this case, this is the ultimate electricity, avyayam, which never, it is never gone. It's never gone. Here, so it is said that, you cannot prove, you cannot defect, you're always there. You can never say, I am not there. My gosh. And you're always aware. So look at the reality, which is the vastu. Instead, what you are doing is to inquire into the semblance of the reality in the form of the human beingness. The human beingness, yes, it's possible sometimes not to be there. It's possible sometimes not to exist. It is possible sometimes that you are not aware. But if you look at yourself, when are you not there? When are you not aware? And when are you the subject of dislike? You are never the subject of dislike. If you are the subject of dislike, it is because of your being a human being. You may not like certain aspect of yourself. I'm getting old. I don't like myself. Fine. You are welcome to such a stupid thinking. That's fine. I agree. All right. But you are not getting old. Appreciate that. So therefore, the ending of this, etayoho tat upadanam ekam sukshmam sat avyayam. Sat, let's look at that sat. So the meaning of sat is one which is never not there. So the very definition of sat means one that cannot not be there. One which cannot change. Because the very definition of the change is that the previous state is no longer there. That's not sat. When are you never not there? I am. But the fact of the matter is that the way of my thinking is that immediately I say, I am this. That is the semblance of the reality. But the reality is, I am. But I want to be someone. Swami Dayananda used to say that this is our biggest problem. We want to be someone. You don't realize that you are everything. You give up an enormous benefit by trying to be someone. I want to be somebody important. Someone everybody would respect. Hey, it's not possible. No one can get that kind of, and it's not necessary also. No, but then I my life, I want to really, so for example, even if you become a social worker, I want to help out people. And I want to be known as the best social worker in the whole world. Non-profit, this is what the other thing that happens is, you ask, this is the thing. This is a sense of superiority. What are you doing? This is what I'm working for. I am working for a non-profit. As though I am very superior because, I don't have any ego. Yeah, that's the thing. You still have egos and stuff like that. Anyway, you'll grow up to be somebody like me. At one time, you'll see there's no ego. So we want to be someone. Everybody wants to be someone. In doing so, you miss the chance. There's a little voice which says, you don't need to be someone. You are everything. But you ignore that. Everything, no. No. I cannot be everything. That's not possible. I'm just a human being. But I want to be the best human being. You don't need to be the best human being. You are already everything. No, that doesn't, I don't understand that at all. This is a dialogue. So the method of inquiry is etayoho tad upadanam ekam sukshmam sat avyayam yatha eva mrit ghatadinam. Just like you have the very clay, which is the very aspect, fundamental of all of the very clay utensils, just like that. And in the end, aham ekopi sukshmascha jnata sakshi sadavyayah tadaham natra sandehaha vicharaha saha ayam idrishaha. So this is repeated in the next one, where sakshi, an appreciation of myself, which is independent of, as we saw earlier, deshataha, kalataha, vastutaha, independent, self-existing, self-aware. This is the inquiry that should lead me to. And I have a lot of work to do because of my orientation towards the very firm thinking, sankalpaha, manusyoham, I am a human being. And so this is in some short 5 verses the method of inquiry, which gives us the roadmap. Even if we are studying detailed, texts and so on and so forth, even if we are leading our life, this way of thinking, of doing vichara, these are the tenets of thinking which will ultimately lead me to freedom. And a freedom which I already am but do not understand. That's it. I did it. I wasn't sure how I was going to finish this, but I was thinking we'll have to do some meditation. Perhaps we'll do that some other time. But at least we took a tour of these very important verses, and so yeah, it's good that we had a chance to do this, and you can keep them in your file, and perhaps add some of your own thoughts from the notes from today's class, and embellish it, and to make it think about it again and again, and keep this in mind. See, this is the interesting thing. I think we should keep these important things in mind as we study and lead our study Vedanta and lead our life, and then to see where the errors are, what is the genesis of the dukkha. And these are simply some very important, but only some limited. This will be elaborated in more detail in some of the texts that we are studying. So we will do that. Om Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityo Ma Amritangamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.